BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Billy molto bene. May...
Così.
Yeah, sì.
Un caffè per favore.
Un caffè americano per favore. That's my favourite one.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Sutherland, and welcome to a special bonus edition of the Scottish Football Podcast.
Gilmour scores! Billy Gilmour has given Scotland an incredible lead here in Lille.
Today, I'm in conversation with Billy Gilmour and Scott McTominay.
Kearney plays it across. It's half away. McTominay! It's the stuff of dreams for Scotland, and it's the stuff of dreams for Scott McTominay, who is suddenly the Tartan Army's magic man.
Back in the summer, they swapped life in the English Premier League for Serie A as they joined Napoli. It's certainly been a successful time so far. At the time of this podcast publication, Napoli sits second in the table, just 2 points behind leaders Atalanta. I caught up with Billy and Scott at the Napoli training centre after another busy day being put through their paces by manager Antonio Conte. We recorded the interview on the 27th of November.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sport Scotland.
Billy Gilmour, Scott McTominay, thanks very much for making time for us. It's been fantastic watching you both take Serie A by storm. Billy, how would you sum up these last few months?
The last few months have been good. Still a settling in period for us both and learning every day, which has been good.
Scott, what's it been like these last few months? Got a few goals, bit of a star man on the field as well. How have you found it?
Yeah, similar to Billy, like settling in and just learning to adapt and learning new teammates and new coaches, and we've both enjoyed it.
In terms of the differences between the Premier League and Serie A, how would you sum it up so far, Scott, in terms of the football, would you say? Is there a big difference?
Yeah, no, they're very, very similar, to be honest. Both really competitive leagues with some amazing players, learning the different styles of play from each team. So, yeah, I would say it's a very difficult league. It's not easy to play in, and as you say, we're both learning and adapting as we go on.
How would you sum it up in terms of the differences that you've encountered so far, Billy, in terms of the style of football between Serie A and the Premier League? We always think of the Premier League as being so quick and Serie A maybe being a little bit more tactical.
Yeah, pretty much what Scott said, as you say as well, tactical. Every game's very different in the way they set up, the way we set up. So for us it's learning, adjusting to how quick the games come around and what we need to do to be ready.
It seems like an incredible city, Naples, obsessed with football. And I was really struck by the reaction when you were introduced to the fans initially. What was that like for the both of you?
I think for me mine was the last minute, so I had to fly over, do all the test and stuff, and then meet Scott at the stadium. That's when we actually first met, wasn't it? Before we went out.
Met before that.
No, I meant that was in Napoli. But now, just so surreal, and going out in front of all the fans was incredible.
So how many fans had turned up just for the introduction?
They introduced us all before a game, and then me and Scott were in the stand watching the game and ended up winning the game, a last minute winner, Frank. So big celebrations.
Fantastic. In terms of Napoli, they've got a huge reputation. Obviously, we'll talk a bit about Maradona in a bit, but Scott, has it surprised you at all in terms of just how big this club is and what it means to the people of this city?
Not at all. I knew before coming here that Napoli is such a huge football club with very passionate fans, and it's a huge city and everyone supports Napoli, so people are so passionate, and me and Billy are very, very grateful for the affection and the love that they've shown us so far, and we just want to repay that by playing as well as we possibly can and learning from the coach and doing our utmost best on the pitch.
Absolutely. Is there a sense of pressure as well, Billy, from the expectation from the fans? Obviously winning the Scudetto of this club a couple of seasons back, last season didn't go so well, and obviously they're looking at both of you as potential leaders in terms of trying to win Serie A this time around.
Yeah, of course I think there's going to be pressure. The fans want the very best, and that's our job as a team to try and showcase that in the pitch and win games and trophies, but of course taking it right now step by step, and we'll see how it goes.
It's been a fantastic start to the season for Napoli, obviously, and so many good players in the squad. Apart from yourselves, obviously, Kavica, Kvaratskhelia.
Pronounce that again.
Not bad. Kavica, Kvaratskhelia. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, it's not
bad.
Thanks very much.
Giovanni Di Lorenzo, Matteo Politano, Italian internationals. Really strong quality. How confident are you that you can win Serie A this season?
Not for us. Like, we aren't interested in discussing that. It's not important at this moment in time. We're in the end of November. You have to take every game step by step, and it's not right to look too far ahead in football because it never pans out the way that you envision or the way that you plan. You can only plan for the next game and doing your best in that game. And I'm sure Billy, the manager, the whole squad will reiterate that point, that for us it's the next training session to work, and it's the one after that as well.
You must be hugely pleased with how it started though, Scott. It has been a fantastic start for yourself at club.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just have to give your best, and if your best is your absolute maximum every time you go on the pitch. Billy's the same. I see him working every single day, training to his maximum, and he's improving all the time. I'm improving all the time. So is the coach. He's helping so many different players in the squad, that it's important that we listen to the messages that they're giving us and try and put them into practice as best we can. In terms of a start, that is what it is. Like, you get your rewards from working hard.
The goal against Inter, Scott, that must have been a huge moment for you though. I mean, Inter, I think, seen as one of the big rivals for Napoli for the title this season. You scored at the San Siro. It was a 1-1 draw. That must have felt like a big moment.
Yeah, in the game though, it was a big moment, yeah, because we were a little bit up against it and we knew that they started well and they were pressing us hard. But yeah, as you say, we've had numerous players who've contributed in big moments, and for us it's important that we have a collective where we have a squad who's doing it, and which we have done so far, and it's a credit to the whole squad as a team because everyone's in it together.
I want to talk about your relationship with Antonio Conte, Billy, because obviously you went from Rangers to Chelsea, and Conte was there initially when you were kind of coming through the youth ranks, I guess, at Chelsea. How much contact did you have with Antonio Conte back then?
Not much, to be honest. Of course, when I signed, I was in the youth setup. I trained maybe once or twice over, but I was a young kid, wouldn't remember. But as I say, and he's known for winning trophies, very, very hard-working man, and he's always got his set up right against teams, and you can see with all the teams he's managed, he's done very well.
Yeah, and he obviously rates you so highly. But what's he like as a manager, and what sort of advice does he give you? I know training has been intense, there's been double sessions, you're training every day. What is he like as a manager? Quite a serious manager?
Yeah, of course he's a serious manager. He wants to do the best for the club and his squad, but I think he's pretty straightforward when it comes to explaining stuff. It's easy to understand. We get it, you go and put it onto the pitch, and if there's a problem, he's going to tell you. So it's definitely for us both, since being here, we've got the message straight, and if it's not working, he's going to tell you it straight again. So for us, it's to keep learning, and we're only going to get better under Conte.
What's it been like with you, Scott? As I say, it's been a fantastic start to this season for yourself, and it almost feels like you're key in terms of the way that he's going to shape the entire team.
Yeah, the manager's been great. He's very, very demanding. He's got a clear structure and ideas in his head of how he wants his team to play, but he's also not as ruthless as what people think. He's a good side to him. You can have conversations with him, which is good. When it comes to training and working, it's business, and we're there to work, and we're there to win, and we all share that same ambition. Otherwise, we would have never have came here.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to talk about Diego Maradona. I mean, you see his picture everywhere in this city. Is it almost a little bit surreal to be following in his footsteps, especially because he was such a pivotal figure in terms of Napoli winning Scudetto when he was here, Billy? And now here you are, following in his footsteps, the fans all wanting you to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit far for us to try and go as close to Maradona. We know how much he's appreciated here and how much the people love him. You can see in the stadium with the stadium named after him and how iconic he is, and in the city where you go, no matter where, you can see Maradona pictures or posters, and it's just full of it in Naples, which is amazing for us as well. As such an iconic player and one of the very best.
I know you're not feeling that you're probably at Maradona's level yet, Scott, but in terms of the adoration you're getting from the Napoli fans, they've already got the nicknames for you. McTominay, I think, is how they describe you at the moment. That must feel pretty good. But aye, Maradona, murals everywhere. It's kind of surreal, isn't it? It's intoxicating in terms of the way that the spirit of Maradona sort of envelops this club, isn't it?
Yeah, and as you Billy says, no one can get anywhere near Maradona in terms of his legacy and his how much of an icon he is in the game. But for us, as you say, it's all about respect, and it's acknowledging how amazing he was for the fans and the people so passionate about him, which is obviously translates into our passion for the club as well, because we're inspired every time we go on the pitch to do our best for them, because they know that if we play well, then they'll enjoy us. But obviously, if we're not playing so well, then they push us to do better. So it's important.
Let's talk about lifestyle, because obviously a huge difference going from the UK to Italy. How have you found it so far, and what surprised you most, Billy?
For me, it's still trying to get settled, finding a place to live. But I think if you were to say the biggest change is the weather, for sure we'll both say that. It's easy enough to say. Beautiful sunshine skies most days. There's been a little bit of rain, but a little bit of wind, but no, enjoying the weather here.
Incredible. This is late November, Scott. It's been 20 degrees as you put through your paces at the training ground today. In terms of the change that you found, obviously, from swapping Manchester United for Napoli, has there been anything that surprised you in terms of the lifestyle aspect in particular?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure Billy will say the same thing. My life has not changed too much. Like we come to the training ground, we go home, we have dinner, we rest, we recover, and then if there's an opportunity for the team to go for dinner, or you go for dinner with your girlfriend or your family, then it's very, very similar. You're just in a different country. So for us, we've had many dinners together, come round to the house, we'll relax, watch the football together. So it's been good. We've both enjoyed it, and it's good that we've settled so quickly as well.
Are you getting Italian lessons?
Yes, we both do Italian once a week so far.
Yeah.
With like the people from the university come in, and we spend 1 hour with them. Of course, we're going to get better, and we're going to try and speak Italian, but so far it's been going okay.
Billy molto bene. Me.
Così.
Yeah, sì.
Un caffè per favore.
Un caffè americano per favore. That's my favourite one.
Scotty loves. At dinner, after dinner, Scotty will ask for that to the waiter or waitress.
Scusa. That's my favourite one of that.
Do you think you'll be fluent by the end of the season?
Yeah. You have to
Fluent
learn.
by the end of the season?
Yes.
I mean, we're going to try, of course, when you're over here. I think the best thing to do is try and get settled in, and especially learn the language. All the boys speak Italian, and they speak English too, but for us it's a respect thing. Of course, we're coming here, we need to show that we're not just giving it like 50%. You need to buy in fully to try and make yourself settle. So for us to learn Italian and pick up little things, and when we do say some things in the change room, they're surprised, oh, it's Italian. So it's good. So of course we're going to try.
Does Mr. Conte speak to you in English or Italian?
Italian. A little bit of both.
Always pleasant, or sometimes shouting at you in Italian or English? No?
Both.
Yeah, both.
Whatever takes his fancy. He can do whatever he wants, I suppose.
High from Fernandes. Headed on by Maguire. McTominay! Would you believe it? What an entrance from Scott McTominay! He's been on the pitch just over 10 minutes. He got the equaliser, and he's won the game with the very last kick of the game. Lift off and relief inside Old Trafford.
Scott, it must have been a huge decision for you to leave Manchester United after 22 years. It's quite incredible. You're 27 years of age. It's basically your entire life at Manchester United. Yeah, how big a wrench was that, would you say?
I said this in the press conference before the Scotland games. To be honest with you, it was a big decision, but something that was quite straightforward. I saw the passionate fans, I saw the coach, I saw the players, and I saw an opportunity there for myself to push my career further, and I took it. I didn't look back. It didn't take me long to make the decision, because I knew that was what I wanted, and I'll never have any regrets in my life, where as soon as I put my mind to something, I want to do it. That's it. There's no holding you back. And for me, I love this place. I love the fans. I love my teammates. It's been a pleasure to be with Billy every day rather than just seeing him at Scotland, and we've helped each other a lot, which has been good as well.
I mean, You're Manchester United through and through, and you had so many great moments at the club. But for a while, it felt like there was nothing but speculation about you going here, there, and everywhere else. And obviously, you arrived here at Napoli. Were you surprised that Manchester United let you go?
Was I surprised? Don't know. You'll have to ask them. I don't read the newspapers. I don't read too much that goes on in terms of social media and stuff like that. So I wouldn't know too much the reaction. But as I say, it's not important. The decision has been made from both parts, and it was a mutual decision for all of us. It was a case of there's an opportunity there. Do you want to go? Obviously, I know from their side, the FFP is difficult, so it's not easy for football clubs to make a decision in regards to homegrown players. But for me, that was never in my thought process. My thought process was coming here, seeing the fans, how passionate they are, the coach, and hopefully coming here to do really good things.
There was obviously some difficult times at Manchester United. Eric Ten Hag, who's gone now, obviously, he spoke very highly of you. You kind of got the feeling, I think he basically made it clear, he was really disappointed that you'd left, basically, or the club decided to let you go. What was your relationship like with Eric?
Yeah, obviously on my last day, I had to go and see everyone, and obviously, granted, I've been there for a long time, so it was not easy to say goodbye to people, but that's football, that's the life. Like, I spoke to him, obviously he expressed his thoughts on the situation, and it is what it is. I said, listen, it's my career, I'm here to push myself. In this situation, I have to look out for number one, which is myself, and go with my gut feeling of what I want to do in my career and not be held back by any other external factors. So, as you say, it was amicable. I love that football club to bits. They've been my life for 22 years, but I've moved on now, and I thoroughly enjoy myself here and my new teammates, the staff. As you say, I've been very grateful to inherit such a great group of people, first and foremost.
Such a big part of your life. Do you ever see yourself being back at Manchester United one day?
You never know in football. You can never, as you say, we've been talking about the league before, you can never look too far ahead in terms of steps after here. I'm concentrated on here and now, and I'd be doing a disservice to the fans and my coaches to discuss anything along those sort of lines. I just want to do my best for my teammates currently and not think too much ahead.
Billy, in terms of yourself at Brighton and Hove Albion, it was a kind of case of will he or won't he go to Napoli for a little while? How tough a decision was it in the end to make that decision between Brighton and coming to this huge club of Napoli, of course?
Yeah, for me, when I found out there was interest, I gave it some thought and I wanted to come. Similar situation to Scott, where he says you want to push yourself, you want to go and see how far you can go, and come here, massive team, the fans, the club, and what the challenge was to come here to do is get better and try and win trophies. And for me, I thought it was the right move. And of course, Brighton have been great with me when I was there. Kind of rebuild myself, got my confidence back, and all the coaches I worked under there were class, and the teammates, still keep in touch with them all. And when I was leaving, of course, saying goodbye, it's never easy, but you know you're doing the right thing, and it's for you especially. You have to look after yourself in football, and for me, when I came here, everyone's been really helpful. Try to make sure you settle in as quick as possible, and with the manager and the boys in the team, they do a very good job in that.
You had quite the career trajectory, obviously, Billy. A young lad growing up in Ardrossan and Rangers and Chelsea, Brighton now. Here at Napoli, of course, when you reflect back on it all, how do you sum up that journey?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to be fair. If you were to ask me, would I have been here 5 years ago, I was saying, oh, even at Chelsea when I was 16, when I was a young kid, no. But it's just the opportunities you get by working hard and giving your all. And of course, when the opportunity came up, I couldn't turn it down. It's always been something in my mind about going abroad and being a small player, technical player. I thought this would be definitely a league that suited me. So when it came up, I said, yes, 100% want to come here. And then of course when Scotty was coming, it makes it a little bit easier. You know, you can settle in. So far for me, I've been enjoying it, and I want to give them all.
You're working under Roberto De Zerbi. Did he that kind of help pave the way in terms of the Italian cultural shift and all the rest of it?
I mean, I did speak to Roberto De Zerbi before coming here. He basically said Napoli's a great club. He says you'll love it, the fans are amazing, and if that's what you're going to do, go and do it 100% basically. He still, obviously he's at Marseille now, but I'm sure he played for Napoli when he was a young football player himself, and he always said how good the club was.
I remember I interviewed you just when you moved from Rangers to Chelsea, and I was really impressed when you talked about your aim in life was to become the best player in the world, and it was just the confidence and all the rest of it. And I guess this is just another step on that journey, Bob.
I mean, when was that when you interviewed me when I was 16?
Aye.
So of course stuff changes, but for me it's still to be the best that I can totally be, and by pushing myself every day. I'm at Napoli now, and massive steps from when I was at Chelsea to Norwich, Brighton, now here. It's been enjoyable. There's been ups and downs, definitely, and you just need to keep working hard as possible, and of course playing at Scotland as well, which we're doing really well. Big game coming up in March, but we'll focus that closer at the time. But just taking a step, everything in my step, and see how it goes.
Yeah, the Nations League was obviously tough initially, but what a fantastic ending from a Scotland point of view. And now this playoff match, as you mentioned, against Greece in March. How confident are you that Scotland can get the right outcome with that one, Billy?
Yeah, I think we'll be going into that game very confident. You can see from the full qualifying campaign, I think the first game be Poland at home, we played a really good match.
Scotland attacking immediately here. Dykes plays it across, and it's going to be knocked away. The man has just come on. Gilmour shoots and scores! What a start to the second half that is! Billy Gilmour rifles the ball home. It's gone through the goalkeeper.
We should have won. It was 3 mistakes that we've let them have, basically.
Should have beat Portugal away.
And then Portugal.
Robertson rolls it back to McLean. It's a really good ball. McTominay's there, and McTominay heads home. 6 yards out. Scott McTominay bullets the header past Diogo Costa. He's the main man yet again, and he's the main man in the deluge in Lisbon.
So for us, you can see we're both sitting here and we're telling you how annoyed we are and angry, but that's football. Like, if you give away a silly mistake, they're going to capitalise, and especially against top teams. We're in a top Nations League group, so for us going into this game, yeah, we'll be confident.
Absolutely. And Scott, some of the performances in the Nations League were excellent from a Scotland point of view. The results early doors weren't obviously what you wanted, but it came good in the end. How confident are you that you can get through that qualifying campaign and get to the World Cup in North America?
Yeah, very confident. I feel like the games that we've had, we've shown against pot 1 teams that we're more than capable of beating them. So, yeah, it's credit to Steve Clarke and his staff, because the way that we've changed formation a little bit and we're starting to have more of the ball, I feel like obviously him and Kenny and the other midfield players are crucial in terms of the build-up and the centre-backs, and Robbo and the right-back as well, Anthony Ralston. So for us, we have full confidence in the way that we're going, and we just want to keep going with that, don't we?
It was interesting, you know, I brought up the match against Poland, where Scotland eventually lost, obviously, but there was a time, I wonder if you agree with this, Billy, the Polish players actually looked terrified of you at one point, I feel like, Scott, when you're galloping towards them.
Ben Doak with the right angle in the box, level with the penalty spot. Little ball to Ralston, fires it back, and McTominay scores! Scotland back from the dead here! And now he has got his 10th international goal! Scotland have come from 2 goals down! Ben Doak immediately involved, Ralston pulls it back, and Scott McTominay side boots the ball home into the bottom left.
It was a big performance from yourself in that match in particular. Is that how you feel about it?
But yeah, I mean, in that game we were going in at half time thinking there's no way that we can't score here, and there's no way that we don't win this game. So whenever the ending happened, obviously we're disappointed, and like you say, we're angry, aren't we? So for us, in the next games coming up, we want to put that right, and then you fall shy against Portugal, which was a tough pill to swallow as well. So yeah, as you say, for us, I feel like we're on a good track. I said this in the last press conference before we'd even played the last 2 games, and look at the difference in terms of the results, and the media start to change the tune a little bit in terms of how they speak about the coach and the players and stuff like that. So yeah, for us, we want to continue to push the whole group and do as well as we possibly can.
I don't want to blow smoke up your backside, Scott, but in the last little while for Scotland, obviously with Napoli at the start of the season, it feels like you're on a very much an upward trajectory in terms of your career. Is that how you feel about it? You're 27, going to be 28 at the start of December. Is this what you call a kind of real growth period for yourself as a player?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's just important that I continue to learn and do my best, and whatever trajectory that I'm on, I want to just continue to do what I'm doing and give it my absolute best, which is the only thing you can do in football. You some players can be very emotional, sometimes up and down, confidence is not there, sometimes it is. I just try and keep a plain sailing balance of giving my best, and hopefully that results in good performances and coming up with big moments.
But do you feel like you are hitting new levels?
Yeah, obviously for me, I'm not the type of character to discuss my own trajectory or a level that I can play at. I just want to be feet on the ground and do my absolute best at all times, and the rest takes care of itself.
I know when you were a youth player at Manchester United, they made you play up front for a little while. Would that be something that you would take on from a Scotland point of view? Because sometimes goals have been a little bit hard to come by. You are this big goal-scoring presence for Scotland. Would that be something you'd be willing to take on?
Yeah, I haven't played as a striker for 7-8 years now under Warren Joyce, and that was for 2 games. So, yeah, it's people hold on to things. If I played on the left wing for 2 games in 5 years, would people say that I'm a left winger? No. I'm a central midfield player. Billy's a central midfield player. That's just the way it always been. I feel like the media can attach themselves to something that's just not true completely. So as a striker, I don't know, if you put me up there, you have to say, but I've never played there, so I couldn't tell you.
But you'd be up for it if Steve Clarke asked you.
Oh yeah, he asked me to play centre back and I said yeah. So
that's true.
For me, it doesn't matter, just as long as I'm helping and I'm there to support people, and it really doesn't matter. You could sit me in goal, I don't care.
You could do a job up front, couldn't you, Billy?
Do anything. Big and small up front. Hit the target man, I'll get seconds.
Yeah. It'll be alright.
Try it.
Especially with his new boots, he's got these white Preds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It's been the talk of the last 2 days.
Oh yeah.
In a good way?
I don't think he's misplaced the pass in like 300 passes in training, have you?
The boots are top. Brought them out in Scotland, tried to take them, but they're nice. All white boots, red, beautiful. Predator.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo.
Style is important when you're in this country, of course.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. So yeah, ambitions and aspirations for this season then, guys. How would you sum it up, Billy?
Of course, for us it's game by game. It's far too early to say, but you want to do well. You want to win stuff. So for us, we know we want to come here and try and win stuff, make the fans happy. And then from a Scotland point of view, it's to keep winning and to keep the fans on side and supporting and keep pushing.
And Scott, for you as well, ambitions and aspirations, how do you look at that for this season ahead?
Yeah, similar. Work a lot, do our best, keep the feet on the ground, and whatever happens, do it to your utmost ability, and we'll see where we are come the end of the season.
What do you miss most about UK and Scotland in particular, Billy? Is there anything in particular?
Miss most? I don't know. I think it's maybe just the freedom where you could just call your friends and be like, oh look, I'm round the corner or in the house. Where here it's a bit different, family and friends maybe, but I've got my big man here, so we're pretty tight and do a lot of things together.
And same for you, Scott?
Similar. Yeah, it's obviously it is a change not having people on your doorstep to say, oh, I just want to come round or do this, but we train a lot and we need to recover, and there's always times where family and friends can come out and stay for a week, and whenever the restaurants open a little bit more in the March, April time, it would be nice for them to come and visit and come to the matches. But like you say, we've had people come and watch and visit, and they've enjoyed it, haven't they? So yeah. For us, there's always something to look forward to, like your brother will come or my mum and dad and stuff like that. So your parents as well.
Have you always been good pals in the Scotland setup, or has it reached new levels now you're both together here, seeing each other every day? Are you sick of the sight of each other?
I remember texting Billy whenever he was at Chelsea, and I said to him, you keep going the way you're going and you'll be in the Scotland team and you'll be a big player. And that was, 6-7 years ago? Mm-hmm. I felt like the old dog telling him, come on. And now he's took my place. Nah, it's been seamless, to be fair, innit?
Yeah. It's been good. I mean, of course, both in the Scotland team, and it's pretty easy when you come to a new club and you've got that familiar face, and yeah, we've got closer. Obviously, at Scotland squad, you're there for 10 days, and you're doing a lot, maybe some other stuff, different stuff. But for us, it's been top, and obviously travelling back together and travelling here, it's been fun.
There has been a Scottish invasion in Serie A. Why do you think that is?
I mean, for me, obviously, you've had Aaron Hickey over here, Lewis Ferguson, Liam Henson's here, Josh Doig is also. It's a great opportunity, and the league's top. For them, they've come over here and they've all done very well. In particular, Lewis Ferguson, we've all seen him and how incredible he's done. And of course, he's coming back from injury now, which is great to see. But yeah, it's a top league, and we've experienced that so far against the teams I've played, and you can see how competitive it is, and that's all you want in football, to keep pushing and trying your best and seeing how far you can go.
Yeah, was that part of the inspiration coming out here as well, Scott? Lewis Ferguson obviously had a sensational year last year for Bologna. Hopefully he gets back up to those levels again after injury, but did that play a big part in terms of your decision in terms of trying Serie A?
To be honest, no. It was more individual thought of where do I want my career to go and stuff like that. So obviously you know that other players have been here from Scotland, from England, for example. But yeah, it's all an individual based decision. Like, you can't base it off what someone else has done here or whatever. It's just come in and work a lot and do your best.
In terms of your own Scotland journey as well, Scott, there was a story that Jose Mourinho played a huge part in terms of you becoming a Scotland player. I mean, would it have happened anyway? I know that he spoke a lot to Alex McLeish at the time. What were the details involved there? Was that the general gist of it?
Jose was top class with me. Like, he had so much time for me and he helped me so much. The decision was made anyway. No one had to come and tell me what to do or say to do this. I knew myself anyway, so it didn't really make too much of a difference, but it was good to hear the acknowledgement in the background that it's a good decision, it's something that you'll never ever regret, and in football, that's the way it should be. You never have any regrets. If you work to your best, then and keep your feet on the ground, you can do good things.
What's the plan for the rest of the week then, guys? Is it training every single day? Double sessions?
No, we had a double session today, so now it's home, recover, Scott's house for dinner, watch the Champions League, and then train, recover until our game. Yeah.
Rest.
It's not a bad life, though, is it?
Rest. Yeah, I mean, it's not too dissimilar to what I would do whenever I was in the UK. I'd go home, I'd eat my lunch, rest a little bit. If some friends come around for dinner, then have dinner and then go to sleep and then work again. That's the life of a footballer, and sometimes people can make it a little too complicated by getting caught up in all these different things. It's the basics are the best.
And could you see yourselves staying long term in Italy?
How long term?
Let's say 5 years.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're here for our contract duration, so you obviously have to prepare to be here for a long, long time, and there's no force for us to want to go or do anything else. And we love the people here. They've been so good with us. Lello, the taxi driver, has helped us a lot in terms of helping families drive us around and people sorting houses, cars. Like, they're really good people who've saved us a lot of hassle, haven't they?
Yep. Just want to give you everything, make sure you're settling as quick as possible, and the easiest way is for them to help you, and they do everything, helping us so much, and can't really thank them enough so far, because everything they've done has made it so easy.
Fantastic to hear you've got such a nurturing environment here, Scott. Billy, it's been an absolute pleasure spending time in your company. Will you have us back when you win the title at the end of the season?
Just say yes.
Yeah, go on.
I'd love for you to come back if that's the case.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sports Scotland.
For everything you need to know about your team this season, download the BBC Sport app. All the latest news, goal updates, stats and scores, and insight and analysis. Just select your club to get the biggest stories and best content at your fingertips. What a result. Download the BBC Sport app for everything you need to know about your team this season.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, I'm Martin Dowden, and this is the Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views and analysis you need on Thursday, the 19th of December. And it's a big day for Hearts.
Big moment in this game for Kevin Dix. Steps up, right footed, scores, bottom corner, sends Gordon the wrong way. And Hearts now are staring a third consecutive defeat in the Conference League right in the face.
After being conquered by Copenhagen and Kilmarnock, can Critchley and Co punish Petroclub? We'll also take a look at the Championship.
Dom Thomas trying to threaten early on. What it is! first class from Dom Thomas.
Can Queen's Park force their way into the playoff places in Friday night's televised game? And...
Oh my goodness! It's another goal for Ayr United. They now lead this by 5-2, and Falkirk are wondering what has happened to them. They are all over the place now.
Are Falkirk feeling the heat with Livingston breathing down their neck?
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sport Scotland.
A quick intro to my two guests today. It's Moira Gordon, the esteemed Scottish journalist, and Cammy Kerr.
What are you after?
I know. I never even got to finish Cammy's introduction there. Queen's Park defender, Cammy Kerr. Lots to discuss with both of you. We're going to focus on the Championship shortly. But first up, let's look at Hearts. They take on Moldovan club Petroclub at Tynecastle in the Conference League this evening, almost certainly needing to win to ensure they're playing European football after Christmas for the first time since 1989. Hearts having just won once in their last 8 games, losing 6 of them. Moira, first to you. How much pressure is Neil Critchley under here?
I think huge pressure. I mean, European football in itself, if they were to get past Christmas, it's probably seen as a bit of a bonus the way the season is at the moment. But I think on the back of that Kilmarnock performance, let alone result, I think that makes it actually even more significant. They need to deliver to get the fans back on side. Or, you know, at the moment they've been stuck at the bottom of the table and still quite unified as a club. You know, there's been grumblings, but people have always thought we're getting out of it. But I think the way things went in the weekend, people are beginning to worry a wee bit. So they need that boost at the moment. They need that feel-good factor, and that makes this European game even bigger than just a European result.
Yeah, interesting what you say. You've got your finger very much in the pulse there. What do you think isn't really working for Hearts at the moment?
I mean, they had been, since Neil had come in, there had been a definite upturn in performances. They were playing, you know, they had a bit more tempo, considering they don't have enough pace in the squad, you know, so he's working within those confines. But he still had managed to get more up-tempo performances. They had been running the likes of Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen close. You know, I mean, they should have probably won against Aberdeen. So there was good performances in there. But I think a lot of injuries in the last few games has unsettled them even further. I think, and there have been key injuries. There have been guys who have been pretty pivotal in that turnaround. So I think that makes things pretty edgy. I think they're almost just trying to get any kind of boost they can and get to the January transfer window and hope to get 1 or 2 reinforcements in to see them through. But they just need to hope they don't lose, you know, any more pace on the guys in front of them, just until they can get to that transfer window. And as I say, a European result and the promise of European football after Christmas would certainly, you know, keep some of the negativity at bay.
Yeah, Neil Critchley said he was stunned and shocked by that Kilmarnock result. Just how damaging, Cammy, do you think it is to lose to a 10-man Kilmarnock at the weekend, given that red card came so early in the game as well?
Yeah, obviously on the outset it doesn't look great with the result, and I think by all accounts Kilmarnock had, you know, some good chances in the game even with 10 men. So obviously it doesn't look too good from that point of view. But I think it's always difficult. I go back to it with the European games on a Thursday, and you go back to league business on a Sunday. Every team this year struggled with it. You saw St Mirren at the start of the season. Obviously Kilmarnock, and they've not recovered too great. Obviously they're starting to go up the league now, but it is an extremely tough job. Obviously you're looking at them needing that result tonight, but hopefully they can go and get it, because obviously I think the club needs a big boost just now. Obviously just with the January transfer window just round the corner, I think it's always difficult as well. Like, they obviously did recruit quite a lot in the summer, and it's not really paid off. So do you go and do the same again in January and hope that you can get up that league? Because as I say, as Moira quite rightly said, I thought they'd be probably higher up the table than they are just now. I thought they'd get that initial bounce when he came in, and they did kind of get that with their first few results, but the inconsistency has kind of crept in again. And, you know, again, I'm certainly surprised as well that they haven't picked up their league form.
It's the term winning as a habit comes to mind. Is losing or not winning a habit as well? Yeah, and again, obviously through playing, you can certainly see it firsthand that
it's all to do with confidence and kind of mentality when you're in at a football club, and if you're winning games, even if you're not playing well, there seems to be like as you say, a confidence that you can get something in a game, and that is as simple as maybe people making forward passes into the right areas to create a chance for a team. And then if you're not playing well, it's the opposite effect. You don't want to take that risk. Maybe you don't want to play that final ball. You don't want to take that shot in the box in the last minute. So it all kind of has a knock-on effect. And obviously, even a result when not playing well, I think is exactly what they need at this moment in time. And as I say, hopefully they can get that this evening when they play in Europe.
That's the thing. It's like, sorry, I was just going to say the thing about the mentality. I think we're maybe at the crossroads of that, because we saw the season they were demoted and they were struggling. Then everybody kept thinking the same thing: they'll get out of it. But there was a kind of malaise, a despondency, and maybe a lack of belief in their play and even around the training ground at that point, and that you maybe thought, I'm not so sure this is going to happen. Whereas up until now, there's actually not been signs of that around training ground or in the squad. They've actually stayed really quite positive. They're still in it together. I think the idea that they had words with each other in the dressing room at the end of the game at Kilmarnock, that's quite a pivotal moment. And Cam will probably know, being in dressing rooms, that sometimes those harsh realities and open discussions can be brilliant, and it can kickstart something positive. Or it could actually start people going introspectively and just thinking, oh, if I'm going to get a rollicking in the dressing room, I'm not going to take that chance. Or, there's little creaks in amongst the squad then. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back tonight and see whether that's been a positive thing or whether it's something that's maybe undermined a few of the quieter players. So I think this is actually going to be a really pivotal game because of that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and I keep thinking about the crowd tonight as well at Tynecastle. It can be such a powerful thing for Hearts, but I feel as though right now it could be such a negative if they don't start well as well.
The thing is, the good thing under Critchley is, on the whole, especially at home, they've started games really on the front foot, and the crowd have responded to that. So that even when they've maybe lost a goal, the crowd have stayed fairly positive. And especially on European nights, that tends to be the case. So hopefully that'll be something that'll work as a positive for them tonight. But if they do start sloppily, and the concern is, this is a team, they might be minnows, as it were, but they don't give away many goals. And we saw how they struggled against Kilmarnock, and I think that's been a mark of them almost this season. They've struggled to break down teams. And they did, that's why playing against 10 men was actually probably as a hindrance to them, or more of a hindrance than it might have been to other teams. So I think that's going to be tricky tonight. They need to get the first goal. They need to set off in the front foot, because if they don't, and they start really huffing and puffing trying to get past this Moldovan defence, then there might be more grumbles and more tension in the ground.
Cammy, I know you're a Moldovan football expert, so I'm going to put you to the test on this. Tell us all about Petroclub, their strengths, their weaknesses, everything about their history. Go on.
Oh, I could tell you so much. I do not know too much about them, but one thing, again, obviously, as you say, not too many probably people do know too much about them and stuff like that, but one thing that I'll guarantee is I don't think they'll be an easy side to play against. None of these teams are, and I think that just shows kind of the level of the competition in Hearts. So obviously I hope they do get the victory, and I think they will, but they'll need to certainly, as you say, as Moira and yourself said, need to be on their game to get a victory.
That was a nice, succinct answer. Well done. Moira, the first time, I think I said at the top there, 1989, this would be European football after Christmas for Hearts. I mean, that's quite a big deal, is it not?
I mean, that's the thing. It is a huge deal, but as I said at the start, I think it actually is almost overshadowed by what the victory means for their league season and the rest of their season than it does purely just in a European. Because obviously formats change, things change, and it's a wonderful achievement. And that's not to be downplayed. But formats have changed. It maybe is slightly easier to get beyond Christmas when you've got these group stages and going through in such big groups at the moment. But Yeah, I think they'll do it, and that's what's great about it. But I also am a wee bit concerned that people think they've been talking about it since the fixtures came out. This one was almost the gimme at the end of it, so it was like if they could do it against Bruges, that's great. If they could do it against Copenhagen, that'd be brilliant. But if they don't worry about it. We've kind of got this Dowden minnow at the end that we can wrap it up then. And I think that mentality is actually quite dangerous for Hearts, that if they don't do it, it's seen as a massive, disappointment. So there's pressure there. But if they can do it and override that pressure and everything that's going on domestically as well, then I think it would be a superb achievement for them.
Yeah, and pressure, I guess, given they started so well in the Conference League and now we're at this stage trying to get through at the last. Prediction time, Moira, what do you think?
I think they'll win. I think it will be quite close, though. I think it'll be maybe a 1-0 or a 2-0. It's not going to be a battering, I don't think.
Cammy?
Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Hearts.
3-1 Hearts. Get your money on it. Okay, let's move on to the Championship. A big game live on BBC Scotland on Friday night. Cammy's Queen's Park currently sitting in 5th. They take on 7th place Wraith Rovers. How are you guys feeling getting into this, Cammy?
Yeah, feeling good. We obviously had a disappointing result at the weekend against Hamilton. Probably a game in which we didn't play our best, but probably could have still took something from the game. I think that's probably a mark of what the Championship's been this season, small margins. But we've been going away fine. I think the game on Friday will be another massive test against a good Wraith Rovers team who are probably in a false position. So we need to make sure that we're on our game come Friday, and I'm sure it'll be an exciting one.
What was the ambition at the start of the season, and what is it now?
I think within the group we know that we've got a good squad. I think the squad's extremely young, but it's a hungry group that are really looking to improve. That's certainly one thing that I seen when I went in from moving, is there's a group that's got a real drive about them and want to do better every day. Some extremely good young players. So obviously within the group we know that we want to be pushing for those promotion places. As you can see, the league's extremely tight. The weekend was a good chance for us to kind of really cement ourselves within that pack of 4 or 5 teams. We're still in it, but the results kind of probably didn't go our way at the weekend. But I think it's so obvious to see that within 2 games, 3 games, you can be right back in, or you could be right back down the league. So we just need to make sure that we stay on track. I think we had a good week leading up to the Hamilton game. We had a good win in the cup against Partick, going through on penalties. We won in the Trust Trophy against Rangers, and then we obviously won at the weekend against Airdrie. So it was disappointing last week, but that's the Championship down to a T. It's so tight. You even see the Livingston against Falkirk game. I know Falkirk have been flying, but they get one man sent off, the Ayr game against Falkirk. They get one man sent off, and Ayr capitalise with a good 5-2 victory.
Yeah, Moira, I'm interested in your thoughts on Callum Davidson at Queen's Park, and we're used to what he achieved at St Johnstone, that double cup a few years back. But how do you think he's adapted to the club and to that league, which is so difficult and so challenging?
I think for any manager, I think people think going to the Championship that it'll be easier almost, but it's not. As Cammy says, it's such a nip and tuck league. There's no real respite at any point. Every game tests you. Every game can take you up a couple of spots or down a couple of spots. You don't necessarily. It's a different pressure than maybe he faced at St Johnstone. He was either the overachieving minnow for a while, and then he had the period where he was really struggling, kind of down the bottom of the league. Whereas it's a different pressure at the Championships, because it is every single game you can win, but every single game you could lose there. It's very much a different kind of pressure, and just adapting different players, different levels. But I think every manager maybe takes a wee bit of time to settle into it. Maybe unlike other than somebody like a John McGlynn, who could go to any club there and seem to hit the ground running. He's done it. But and I mean, Cammy knows better than me. He'll know what Callum's like in the dressing room around it. But a lot of players like Callum Davidson, when they played for him at St Johnstone, he had them together and believing. So if he's doing anything similar like that to the dressing room now, then they've definitely got a chance to be up there, and they'll have a fight, they'll have a belief, which is he always instilled in East St Johnstone teams as well.
Cammy, here's your big chance to get a start on Friday night. How great a manager is Callum Davidson?
No, look, he's been incredible with me since I came in. As Moira says, obviously, I think genuinely all the boys love playing for him, and I think as somebody myself that wants to go into that type of thing once I finish eventually, I kind of try and learn as much as I can, good and bad, off managers. But in terms of man management, wanting to play for him, the sessions that they put on, as I say, I don't think I've had 2 sessions the same. You understand why he's putting sessions on. I think he's very understanding of personal situations. So for me, all the things as looking, down the line as a manager, ticks all the boxes. But he's got obviously a real knowledge of the game. I think it's easy to say it was maybe harsh on him at St Johnstone, but if you look back at what he actually achieved at St Johnstone, that's definitely not going to happen again. I don't think. I'll probably, eat my words maybe if it does happen again. But obviously, for what he achieved there at the club and the fans and what it meant to the whole city, that's unheard of in Perth. So yeah, I think he's done a great job, and I hope he continues to do a good job with us.
Moira, did your antenna go up there when Cammy said the good and bad learning from managers? I just thought, right, who was bad? Who was bad? Tell us.
Exactly. I was going to say, is the bad coming from him as well as the good?
I'm sure he said Callum was bad there. Anyway, let's look at some of the other games in the Championship this weekend. On Saturday, it's second place Livy against third place Ayr. That should be an absolute cracker, Moira.
It's absolutely. That's what I've seen. Every game in the Championship at the moment, there's something that's enticing about it. I mean, that one, especially after Falkirk playing last week against Ayr, they couldn't have set it up better, so I think that's going to be really intriguing to see what happens. As Cammy said, obviously red card played a part in it last week, but it'll be interesting to see how Livingston cope with Ayr, a team that are obviously going to be hugely buoyed after that result as well. So I do think that's a fascinating encounter, and just seeing how it pans out will actually maybe give a little bit more of an inkling of how the title race will go as well. When you've got the 2 main challengers up against a buoyant Ayr at the same time back to back, then you can't help but use that as some sort of gauge.
I'm actually, a quick anecdote, I was working at the Celtic Rangers League Cup final on Sunday, outside before the game, trying to get some voxes from fans, and I saw the Ayr manager, Scott Brown, so I shouted, Scott, can we have a word? And he went, no, ran past, and then all the fans descended on him, and he was stuck there for about 20 minutes signing stuff.
So you're not welcome at Ayr anytime soon, that's for sure.
I'm absolutely hiding from him for a few weeks, but anyway, Lee Miller said yesterday he thinks Livy have gone under the radar a bit, as Falkirk have got so many of the headlines, rightly so. They're now just 2 points behind them. We've only lost 1 league game all season. Do you think they're getting the credit they deserve, Cammy?
Probably not. I think obviously all the talk has been about Falkirk, and I genuinely believe that most of that is because of the way they're playing, which is quite easy on the eye. It's all about movement, rotation, playing the ball, passing game basically. And Livingston haven't been known for that, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a different style of football. I think Davy Martindale's done an incredible job over the past few years. I think, just because they got relegated, they probably had one of the smallest budgets, etc. in the SPL. They're always fighting above their weight. But that Livingston are an organised team. He's got them playing the way, I think he said it on Friday night on the TV, that he's got them kind of playing the way he wants to play now. He's got his ideas across. It was different in the SPL. And yeah, they probably have went under the radar. I think certainly as a player playing in the league against them, we know how difficult they are to play against. Every time you go to Livingston, it's an extremely hard game with the AstroTurf and how they play their football. And I fully expected them to be probably top, if not competing up there where they are.
It's kind of funny, Livingston are always a team that just kind of go under the radar, aren't they? It's like when they were doing well and punching above their weight in the Premiership as well, it was people just, they're not seen necessarily maybe as one of the more fashionable teams, and as Cammy says, it's maybe down sometimes to perceptions of the way they play the game, or the people resenting the surface that they play on. So they always tend to just go under the radar, but I think David Martindale quite likes that. I think he uses that with the players and lets them know that, it's kind of Fergie way of approach that, you know, people are writing us off or people don't rate us, so they have that siege mentality, and I think it suits them sometimes.
Just briefly, Cammy, Falkirk there at the top. I think they've lost 2 of the last 5 games. They're in absolute crisis, aren't they?
Yeah, massive crisis. I think with Falkirk, as you say, like they've had all the kind of plaudits from the start of the season, and rightly so. But again, we've spoke about it already, and I know we've touched on it. The championship's kind of so unforgiving that maybe get 1 or 2 injuries, or as you say, it's simple things like the pitches maybe not being the greatest for them playing their football. Like, anything can happen in the league. Anything can happen, and I'm sure it'll be an exciting, obviously, last few months. We're in obviously December, January already, so it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a good run in, and obviously I'm not too sure what the outcome's going to be, but I think certainly the 2 teams that you're talking about will certainly be up there.
Brilliant. Amazingly, that is all we've got time for. Many thanks to you, Moira Gordon and Cammy Kerr. And thank you for listening. If you need any more Moldovan facts, we'll put Cammy's phone number on the website later. Remember, Sports Scene with live coverage of Queen's Park v Raith Rovers will be on BBC Scotland and the iPlayer from 7:30 on Friday evening. And we're here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early every day. So make sure you don't miss out. Subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. I'm Martin Dowden. Thanks very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day.
This is the shocking moment English football has been dreading.
My name is Moses Swabu, and I used to be a professional footballer. But then I got in deep with organised crime and became a match fixer operating in the English League.
A match-fixing investigator has highlighted 2 matches he says appear to have suspicious betting patterns.
How honest are you going to be with me? This is 100%. Join me for Sports Strangers Crimes presents Confessions of a Match Fixer. Listen on BBC Sounds.